Good evening. It is Sunday, October 21st, 2012, and we're here tonight with Levon. We're going to be discussing what we were discussing, Friday night with the police random abuse of power. And this has been, like I said before, been running rampant. This has been abused. And cops seem to be using these analog devices, such as tasers and rubber bullets, as a quote unquote less than lethal form to get people to stop protesting, stop them from doing whatever it is they're doing. And generally, what I've seen is that it's actually they're using it to stop protesters. Really, honestly, you're not going to stop protesting. It's not going to happen. It's within our constitutional rights, and it is also within our just our nature. And that if you're being a douchebag, we're going to protest you and tell you you're a fucking idiot. You can't just say stop. It's not going to happen. Levon, with this blatant overall tasering that's going on, I mean, tasering deaf people, people having seizures, people, I told you about these. What was the other one? Is a deaf woman that called the cops got tased. A guy that called the cops, or a guy that his brother called the cops. He was having a seizure and they tased him. A man at the Occupy Wall Street, in his pajamas, unarmed, was tasered for tearing down stop protesting signs. I mean, that's fucking ridiculous, right?
Yeah, that's beyond ridiculous. But the problem is, I think here you're focusing on the taser. The problem is not the taser in and of itself, it's the training of these officers. And most of the time when you call them anymore, they do everything that they possibly can to make a situation worse instead of better. It's almost as if you were better off not calling them at all.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. And yes, I am focusing a bit on the taser because I'm viewing this as they call it a less lethal weapon, and this is actually hurting people. It's not if they tase you, you have to go to the hospital. Clearly, it's not less lethal.
Well, obviously, but then again, you can hurt someone with anything. It's all in the nature of these police officers. If it's within someone's nature to hurt somebody to begin with, then you can give them a gun or a taser or a butter knife, and they're still going to hurt someone with it.
True.
It's ridiculous that they're actually taking these police officers and they're training them to essentially fight against the American public. That's not what they're there for. You and I both know this.
Yeah.
They're here to serve and protect. And it's not like the days of small town, wherever, where you know every cop by name and they're your friend. No. These days it's like they're almost as well outfitted as an American soldier, and they're just as lethal. It's absolutely ridiculous how they're trained.
They are just as lethal. They actually have our weapons. Now, they're carrying around M4s, M16s, semi-automatic 3-round burst weapons. They're like, really? You don't need that. The SWAT team, maybe, but a regular beat cop does not need those, and they don't need body armor. They don't need these fucking high-speed Kevlar helmets. I mean, how many fucking gangbangers are running around just like popping shots that they need to be fully armored in that manner?
Well, to be honest, it really depends on the area that they're working. However, a lot of these places, no, it doesn't call for that. If I'm walking down the street, like I as a person, I don't expect to get shot at, but then again, I live in a decent neighborhood and I don't wear a badge. But the thing is, you shouldn't be, it shouldn't be to the point where you're having to be outfitted to be a soldier against the people you're trying to keep safe. I think that it's people have lost track of. Let's just say people follow the letter of the law instead of the spirit of the law, and I think that's where we're going wrong now.
I see that. And you know what really bothers me is we actually have laws in place to stop the military from walking the streets, which is the oath of Quasi Comitatus, which stops the military from patrolling our streets, which has actually started. We've actually started patrolling our streets, and they call it training. It's not training for us. It's training for the regular, everyday civilian, in my opinion, to get used to seeing fully armored individuals just making checkpoints and making it's to acclimate you to what we do as a standing army. And we're not supposed to have a standing army. That's against the Constitution.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. There shouldn't be like people that armed and ready to fight. My concern is why. Why is that happening? Because it's got to be by design. There's got to be something going on that we're not. I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all. But the thing is, it would be stupid to keep your blinders on and not actually see, okay, why are there fully armed troops, essentially, walking the streets? It's not necessary.
No.
And why are they disarming us? What was it, World War II or World War... Yeah, I think it was World War II. We escaped invasion because other countries knew they don't have a military, they are a military. Every person is allowed to carry a weapon. Nobody is going to go ahead and invade a country like that. That's what kept us safe.
Exactly. You can't invade a country where half the country has a gun and will shoot you.
Exactly. You can't invade a country like that. You've got defense everywhere, house to house to house. Everybody's got guns, or everybody's capable of having a gun. Like that's the kind of security we need. And all these people who are saying, well, guns are dangerous, and yeah, they are. But the thing is, a lot of people who...
Well, that goes the same thing. A butter knife is dangerous.
Exactly.
All right, and like you said earlier, a butter knife is fucking dangerous. It just depends on what you're using it for. I mean, in all actuality, I have bleach and I have Drano in my house. I can make a chemical bomb.
Of course.
But it's not that I have it. It's how I use it while I have it.
Exactly. It's not necessarily the item or the weapon or the dangerous object. It's whose hands it's in. And the thing is, if you have a person who gets a hold of a weapon or anything dangerous, and they're going to do something with it, wouldn't you rather have normal, sane people out there that are ready and willing to stop them? Like, do you really think that as much crime would happen if, hey, I live in a neighborhood where pretty much everyone has a firearm. Am I going to go up to somebody and try to rob them? No, I'm not, because there are at least 8 or 9 decent people who will probably pull out their own weapons and stop me. That's the logic. And what I don't understand is why people argue against that.
No, I see the exact same point many times over, and they're like, well, you don't need a weapon because we have police officers. And granted, I guarantee you, a police officer will not show up as quick as you can pull your own gun.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, a lot of times when you do call the police, like I'm saying, they make the situation worse. They will, they'll be belligerent. There was a story that I read about in California. And there was a man who called the police because there was a group of men being belligerent. All of the men involved were African American. The police that were called actually assaulted the man who called the police, and told him that he was resisting arrest. If you find the video, I forget where it was.
Okay. See if you can find that link within this next break, and we're gonna go to a short break. And as always, stay tuned, like the episode, subscribe to my channel, and please, this is gonna get hot and heavy. It's gonna get very in depth into personal views. So stay tuned.